Hey, well, it's Huck, and I'm doing pretty good. I've actually had a little, I don't know, gastrointestinal issue here. It surfaced Friday night. Let's see, this is Tuesday. Yeah, right before I went to bed Friday. Friday was kind of a busy day. I had to go up to Cleveland and, do some of the, medical stuff that I have to do about every other week. And it's feeling all right, most of the day. Of course, my friend Dustin accompanied me on that. And so when we got back from the hospital, we came back home. Well, we came back to my house and we went down to the local grocery store. They have like a hot food section, as a lot of, grocery stores, I guess, do nowadays. And, they change it up a little bit every day, but I usually go, if I go there at all, I'll go there on Fridays. They serve these, they serve fish, and they have these really large, like 18-inch long um, pieces of, I think they're haddock, fried. And they also serve like baked fish, without the crust and stuff to bake to the oven or whatever. And I guess that's pretty good too. But anyway, so once in a while I'll go there and get, the fish. And I made the mistake this time of also getting, they have these big jumbo fried shrimp. And I think I got like three pieces of that, but it had been, I think it had been left out under the sun lamps for, quite a while. And the time I brought it home, it was not even warm and they were a little stale. And anyway, I'm wondering if that maybe is what upset my stomach. I'm really not supposed to eat a lot of seafood. In fact, like shellfish, like shrimp and lobster, is kind of a no-no. I eat it rarely, and it hasn't really bothered me before, but this time, like I said, it's kind of stuck with me. That night and the next morning, I actually had a temperature of about 100 degrees. And so I did call my transplant doctors. I have a number that I can call, if I'm supposed to call whenever I'm, you know, under the weather or whatever. And so if my temperature gets up over 99 degrees, I'm supposed to call. And I did. And of course, in most situations, they're going to want me to go into emergency. But I assured them I didn't think it was anything more than, maybe some bad food. And the temperature did go away by that afternoon, and I've not had it since. And I've been able to do stuff. Was able to go yesterday. I had to go in about an hour and a half drive. I had another one of those transfusions, where they give you the fluids intravenously. I think I did a video the last time I did one a few weeks ago. I had to do another one yesterday, and other than being kind of tired all day and then going to bed a little early last night, I was fine. Anyway, but I'm still having the lower intestinal issue, So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, other than that, I've been doing pretty good. Now I haven't gone golfing lately. One, I can't afford it. Two, my friend Dustin hurt his foot. Yeah, apparently he went to work one day last week and he tied. I'm gonna move this thing on your lap here. Okay, he went to work one day last week. I guess he tied his shoe a little tight, and by the end of the day or whatever, when he got off of work, his foot was kind of swollen and very sore. And it's been about 4 or 5 days now, and it's just now starting to ease up and feel a little better. His car broke down the other day, and he's got to take it in the shop on Friday. He's a little worried about it. Uh, he's got his dad sold him I think it's a 2009 Chevy Impala. It's actually a really nice car, 2 years newer than mine, and it looks fantastic. I mean, it's really a nice, condition. But I don't know, it keeps stalling out, and you give it gas, doesn't want to do anything, and I don't know. They changed the spark plug wires, but because they looked all mangled and stuff, but apparently that didn't help. So he's already talking about having to buy another car. I don't know. Uh, anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I'm doing pretty well, all things considered, and was hoping sometime before the summer was over, um, maybe even early September or something, and I might be able to get away and do something for a few days. Dustin and I have been talking about the possibility of going on a trip. Um, but it's really the money is an issue, and and I don't want Dustin to miss any more work, although he's willing to try to take off as much as like 4 days of work or whatever if he has to do this. So we've been looking at the cheapest thing, like real trip, the cheapest thing that we have found um, really is maybe and it's been a while since I've done something like this, but you can get like ridiculously cheap flights to like Orlando um, or Las Vegas. I mean, it's actually cheaper to fly to Los Angeles now than it ever was before that I recall. I mean, you can fly round trip to Los Angeles for like I don't know around $200. Um, but even that's a little above my budget. So we're looking at things like Orlando, which really are about the cheapest flights for Orlando because, we're thinking, it'd be worth the $100 or whatever if we went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter or whatever it's called at Orlando, at Universal Studios down there. Of course, with everything going on in Florida with the DeSantis administration and the Florida legislature, a lot of people are boycotting Florida with very good reason. And, so that makes it even more difficult, um, choice to consider. Um, but we've found that if we were to go there and stay at a hotel, even the hotel rooms down there, I mean, depending on where you go, are reasonable. But if we were to go down there for like a 3 or 4 day visit, round trip to Orlando, and and not rent a car, just take the shuttle. Some of the hotels offer you a shuttle from the airport, back to the hotel. They, the ones near Orlando or near Universal Studios, many of them you're either within walking distance or they offer a free shuttle service back and forth, like every half hour or whatever, to the amusement park. I guess Disney offers the same thing. Um, but like I said, we've found that, if we were to go for like 3 or 4 days, we could probably do this for around, well, 300, $400 ish type of thing. I mean, it's really reasonable if you think about it. Um, it'd be hard for me to justify that when I can't pay some of my bills. So I'm not sure um, that's going to happen. But same thing with we've looked at the possibility. Dustin, my friend, has always wanted to see one of the things on his bucket list, if you will, is my mailman is coming. Is the Grand Canyon, and so we were trying to think of, well, gosh, it takes several days just to drive out there from here, but you can fly. It would be too expensive. It'd be too expensive to fly like to Phoenix, but you can fly to Las Vegas really cheap. Um, right from Pittsburgh or Cleveland, and then they offer like a tour bus for like $88. You can get on like I don't know, like a scenic tour bus type thing, and they take you for the day to the Grand Canyon. I think they stop like at Hoover Dam, and there's like two possibilities you can take one that takes you to the West Rim. The West Rim has like I think it's the widest part of the Grand Canyon, and they have that unique, I think it's called the Skywalk, where you walk out on this like glass floored overlook, where you can look straight down. Um, at any rate, so I don't know. That costs like maybe about $100 or less. They also offer a tour instead. It's a little longer. The bus will take you to the South Rim, which I have been to before, although it was about 30 years ago. Um, so I'm a little more familiar with that. But that's a little longer, and it's kind of an all-day trip, like 10 hours or something. At any rate, so we've looked at that possibility because you could fly to Vegas as cheaply as you can fly really to Orlando. I mean, we're talking about a round trip for not much more than $100. And if we were going to go out there, there were a couple of places that are really cheap. They're not really on the strip in Vegas. They're not. There's two main places to stay out in Vegas. I mean, there's lots of options, but the two main places that everybody thinks of when they go out there, I guess, is you know, the strip on Las Vegas Boulevard, where a lot of the major casinos, exist, MGM and Caesar's Palace and, you know, uh, Planet Hollywood. There's just so many of them. And some are quite reasonable, actually. MGM is, I was surprised how cheap they were. Um, and some are a little bit more, but you can go to some famous ones that are really reasonable. But the real bargains are a little bit off of the strip. There's also an area downtown Las Vegas, they call it downtown Las Vegas, which is also known as Fremont Street. And there's like a canopy over a 3 block area or so. The Golden Nugget is there. I think I don't know, there's a bunch of casinos there. Golden Nugget is probably the oldest and most famous. Um, that's another real popular area and kind of a must-see thing when you go there. But if you go outside of those two areas and you drive maybe a couple miles away, there are any number of these little casino places that some of them are really actually quite nice. Now, I've never been to this, but there's a place called Sam's Club or something like that, Sam's Casino, and anyway, it's gorgeous inside. They've got this huge atrium inside, glass covered atrium with well, at any rate, they're reasonable. We went there, oh, I don't know, 6 years ago, whatever year that was, and it was a really inexpensive trip. We stayed at a place called Arizona Charlie's uh, on Boulder Boulevard, which is about, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles from downtown Las Vegas. And we had a rental car at that time. We rented a little Chevy Spark or whatever. I love that little car. Um, but that was really reasonable, and it was a really nice place. I mean, the rooms were huge, and they didn't have a lot of amenities there. They didn't. I mean, they had a casino, but I don't gamble, so I think I spent all of $5 in the casino. They had like 2 or 3 places to eat inside there. The rooms weren't, you know, overly furnished. I mean, there was no kitchen or anything like that. They didn't even have a coffee maker. So I had to get up in the morning and ride to the nearest, I think there was a 7-Eleven, just down the street, and I would get a coffee in the morning. Gotta have my coffee in the morning. So anyway, it's real reasonable to go to Vegas, and like I say, for about $100, you can take one day and go to the canyon. Um, so that's an option because you could take that trip for, I don't know, if you stayed at a place like Arizona Charlie's. Um, Again, the whole thing would probably cost you about $300, maybe 350, each. Um, so those are the, kind of things. And frankly, you can't go camping um, for less than that. I got to go sign for something. Medication is right. How you doing?
Good. How are you? I was
Good.
saying church.
Yeah. last name? Carrier. Okay, I'll go on. Thank you, sir. Okay, sorry for the interruption there. Um, a FedEx guy, I think it was FedEx, just came and delivered some medicine. I take a medicine that I get directly from the uh, manufacturer, in this case, the pharmaceutical company, Merck. And they make a medicine that I have to take every day. And I'll probably have to take it forever, but it was pretty expensive. And so the good folks out at university hospitals um, got a hold of this company and applied, for me to get on this program that they offer where I get the prescription for free. So the only thing is, when I'm getting low, I have to call them directly and tell them that I need a refill, and then they ship it overnight to me. And when it arrives, as it just did, I have to sign for it. So, and that's a medication that the doctors tell me I may have to take the rest of my life. I don't know, or at least for the foreseeable future. It was for that CMV virus that I came down with way back around Thanksgiving. And the good news is now, while there's still a certain minute level of it in my blood, it's the levels are so low that they can't quantify it. So it's generally I was getting numbers, in my blood when I first came down with it of like, I don't know, 750 uh, thousand or 900,000 or something. And um, they wouldn't let me out of the hospital till it was down below 1,000. And then it just was stubborn. It wouldn't go down. It wouldn't go down. You know, I was stuck in the 700s for quite a while. I was stuck in the 200s for quite a while. And so just over the last few weeks, this is like the second or third week in a row, where it has apparently dipped down below the number 35. Once it gets to about 35, the blood test can't really quantify it with a number. They know it's still there, but it's like I say, it's under that amount. So my doctors feel that it'll probably never completely go away, or if it does, there's always a possibility that it will come back. And for that reason, they're going to have me take this medication probably, like I say, indefinitely. Nobody wants me to come down with it again, full blown, because it was such a pain in the butt to get it. I mean, I was on intravenous for months with that um, for treatments for that. So anyway, where was I? So we're talking about taking this trip mainly because I don't know, it's just been such a monotonous situation of worrying about bills and going to the hospital for all of these tests that I have to go through. I mean, it's less frequent than it was. I was going once or twice every week, to give my blood and to take an X-ray and to take a spiro and to meet with the doctors. And about every other month now, I do take a bronchoscopy, and that's an ordeal. Um, After October, I'm told that'll be every third month. So, they are getting less frequently. For the first 6 or 7 months, it was every month. Now I'm in around every other month. And like I say, after October, I think it's going to go down about every third month. But with the CMV virus, I was taking intravenous for that. I'm taking intravenous treatments for two other things, currently. Yesterday, I went in and got more fluids because you know, something in my blood, creatine or something, the levels are a little too high, and they're trying to get them down. And apparently, I'm not drinking enough water. Um, so I have to get those periodically. Now, there are some people that whose kidneys are failing, and they have to get these treatments quite regularly, even every day. Um, I know when I go up there to get my treatment, they're always a little surprised that I don't have like a regular schedule, where I'm coming in every other day or, you know, once or twice a week or whatever it is, like most of the people that they see. And, so far I seem to be holding my own without requiring that much attention to this. So I've been going every 3 weeks or maybe even every month, and I've gone a couple of months without needing them at all. So, um, and then there's another treatment that I take um, for something entirely different, and that's something called your IG. I don't know. I'm not very good at remembering what that stands for, but it's some component in your blood, and then has to do a lot with your immune system. And anyway, the numbers are lower than they would like, and they want it up around 700 or higher. And so it dips down to around 500 or so, 600. And they schedule me for this treatment. Now, for that, they come to the house, they hook me up to this IV. It's 3 hours that I'm on this IV for this treatment. And most people that get this have to get this about every month, usually around the same, time, uh, like the first of the month or whatever it is. And I've gone about 3 months now without getting it. And last month, my numbers went way down. And so they were going to schedule this, but so far no one's called me. In the meantime, I went back and had another blood test here, and the numbers went back up almost to normal. So I'm not thinking they're going to schedule it. I have the medicine. They've already sent me the medicine, but uh, doesn't look like I'll have to take that treatment again this month. So hopefully that will stay that way. Um, at any rate, it's always something. Like I say, every other week I'm going in to give blood and X-rays and the spiro. Every month I have to have a breathing treatment with the nebulizer. It's something that helps prevent, it's some kind of medication. I can't remember the name of it, but it's something that is meant to prevent pneumonia from building up in my lungs. And there was an oral medication that kind of usually they prescribe for that, but for whatever reason, it was affecting my white blood cell count. So they had to take that off me. So instead, I'm doing this breathing treatment once a month. So, like I say, it's kind of been, you know, way more frequently than I would like. I'm going to the hospital. And of course, all of this costs money. None of it is free. So I don't see the cost. It's not like they bill me as I come in. Um, I get a bill, a month or two later, and what my end costs. But all of these things have deductibles, or it's um, can be considerable. I just got a $4,000 bill for January and February. I got another, I don't know, it was about a $1,200 bill for June. Um, so I don't know what's happened between February and June, but I'm sure I'll find out. Meanwhile, like I say, in July, I've got all this stuff going on that I've been doing already. So, it all adds up. And now I'm only obligated to pay about $4,000 for the month. I mean, for the year, medical, and that doesn't include the medicine, but the the medical procedures and those kind of things, all those whatever my end is. I've already paid a little over $2,000 for the year, and I'm going to have to. I think I've paid 2,150 so far this year. So I'm a little over halfway what I have to spend for the year. I've already got enough bills laying here to, that I could pay to do the other, but I don't want to put it all on credit cards. Um, and because I would have to pay interest on that. So I'm paying $100 a month from now until I until I pay down some of these credit cards. And so anyway, so I'm only going into all of this because I want you to know that you know, going on a trip, any trip, is kind of a it's hard. Excuse me, it's hard for me to kind of justify, frankly, when I got all these bills sitting around. Um, but you got to get out and you got to enjoy life, and I'm not going to be around forever. Um, I was just looking at the stats and stuff again, and there's statistically, there's a 50-50 chance that I'll live 5 years with this lung transplant. It's about right 50-50. People are doing much better than that, and there are several people now that I've met locally that are well over 10 years and they're doing fine, at least so far. But eventually, what most people die from um, is something that sets in called chronic rejection of your organ. And it can start at any time, but it generally will start happening after about 5 years or and the more time that goes by, the more chances that that's going to happen. So rejection isn't something that you only worry about like initially, like the first year or whatever. First year is pretty critical because you're trying to get the right balance between them, you know, the several medications that you're taking, some that are anti-rejection medications. And they're trying to balance, the right amount of medication to give you to keep your body from rejecting, your new lungs, but at the same time, not giving you so much that you're um, weakening your immune system to the point where you're susceptible to everything that comes around. And, so it's, uh, if you take a little bit too much of the anti-rejection medication, you're more likely to come down with an infection. If you take too little anti-rejection medication and your immune system is stronger, to fight off infections, well, then you run the risk of of your body rejecting the drug. So one of the things that they have to do periodically is check your lungs up close and personal with a bronchoscopy to see if there's any signs of rejection. Now, so far, I've gone through about 7 or 8 of them, and there's not been any signs of rejection. So, I'm on path. But as time goes on, you're going to have those bronchoscopies, less frequently. Like I say, I'm at about every other month now. My next one will be in October. Well, actually, no. The next one I have is coming up August 8th, and then the next one after that will be August 8th or thereabouts. And then the next one after that will probably not be until after the first of the year because they'll go, I think, 3 months after that point, provided everything goes smoothly with the next two. Um, so anyway, um, like I said, but to get away for any period of time, we used to through about the first half of my life, I used to do a lot of camping. Um, did a lot of camping with my family growing up, and then something I kind of did on my own with my friends or whatever after that for the next 10 or 20 years. We would go to campgrounds or whatever, usually near a lake, and I'm not really able to do that anymore. I don't think it probably wouldn't be the best thing for me. I'd have to camp in a tent, for instance, because I don't have a trailer or anything. But I could see camping in a cabin, but then that's much more expensive. But even camping in a tent, it costs now, most places that you go, it's like $40 to $60 a night to camp in a tent. To get a campground at a state campground or something like that, or private campground. And you get electricity and stuff. And then you add up, the other things, because camping's not cheap. You got to have food and, cooking out and things come up, you're always running to the store for something. Um, you need firewood and all that. And so, you know, if you go camping for a week, you're going to probably easily spend, it's probably cheaper to go to Vegas than, provided you don't gamble or Orlando than to go camping for a week. I mean, not that much cheaper, amazingly. So I don't know. So right now we're still talking about it. I've um, I've probably I've tried to save up a little bit money in the bank, and most of that is gone now because I made that $2,000 payment um, to pay on my medical bills, and And this last month was really tough. I was using my credit cards a lot more than I normally do because I was broke in the bank. I didn't want to spend the money that I did have in there, so I was using credit cards. So this pay has been devoted to paying down those credit cards. I've got several, but there's only like two that I want to carry any balance on, and the rest I'd like to pay off. And I'm not even able to do that this month. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to achieve that by the end of next month, but um, but I'm getting close to that point. Um, so the trouble is, now if I go on a trip or something like that, it would probably be added to that credit card debt. Um, you know, so that's why I want to get the debts that I have right now under control before I do something like that. So that's why we're not talking about going anywhere until maybe September, uh, at the earliest. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. I'm watching the rest of I'm watching the news with great deal of like disgust. Right now, there is a fascist movement, uh, hardline hate movement that's spreading not just throughout the South and in many states in the United States, but it's a worldwide movement. I mean, if you look at what's going on in other countries right now, Spain just rejected this movement big time. But in other countries, um, it's a growing evil in the world. This hate movement, uh, fascism, if you will. Um, It's happening in England. It's happening in Germany. It's happening particularly in what used to be East Germany. Um, uh, I mean, Poland, Hungary. I mean, it's they've already elected, hard right leaders in these countries, and they are looked up to by many conservatives in this country, unfortunately, and so it goes. And right here in my home state of Ohio, there's been really alarming things going on in the last year or two. It's bad enough that, this damn state of mine voted for Trump in the last two elections, but, um, there are other things. There are neo Nazis, parading in communities, around Columbus. Uh, uh, and, and like I say, it's a movement that's growing unfortunate, strength. And these people are not the brightest people in the world. Right now, they're introducing into state legislatures, including Ohio, um, such measures to, um, revoke certain civil rights to um, gay people, trans people in particular. I think there's something like 800% increase in bills against the um, LGBTQ community in this country. Um, in Ohio now, the most recent thing that they're trying to do is something that they're picking up from some other Republican states. Is they're trying to change the education system um, to remove any discussion of you know how blacks were treated historically, for instance, or to put a kind of whitewash that history in ways that are not really true. Um, I know it's not just Florida, and it's not just Texas. It's happening in a lot of states that we don't talk about. Um, and in many of these states have already passed this legislation. Uh, it's really frightening. And if I were a parent right now and I was raising young children, um, I'd have to give serious consideration of whether I wanted to raise my child in this atmosphere, in this state with these new laws. I mean, I really would have to consider, the possibility of moving. And for a lot of parents, of course, that's a very difficult option to choose. Um, you tend to live where you're employed, for one thing. It's not easy always to just pick up and say, well, I'll just get another job. Um, not all people have that luxury. So it's really, really alarming. Here in Ohio, I went down a few weeks ago, or about a week ago, and I voted. We have a special election August 8th. Um, and I voted early. I went down to the Board of Elections and I voted. It's one issue, and I voted no on the issue, and it was an issue of whether or not we were going to change, uh, amend our state constitution to change the way that uh, voter referendums, when voters put a referendum on the ballot. Um, the Republicans that run this state know that in November's election, voters have gotten enough petitions signed that there's a referendum to change what they've done uh, about reproductive rights in Ohio. And Ohio passed a 6-week abortion ban, which has been in the news for many months now, ever since a 10-year-old who became pregnant, a 10-year-old girl became pregnant and had to flee the state to Indiana um, to get an abortion. And the doctor who did this in Indiana has been censored uh, and threatened by the right wing in that state. Um, at any rate, so there is going to be a ballot initiative on in November's election to change that back more the way it was, so that women had the right to an abortion. Uh, period. And at any rate, so the Republicans decided that they were probably going to lose that ballot initiative unless they did something. So what they did was they put on the ballot for a special election in August um, uh, to change the um, the requirements from a simple majority vote to a 60% vote needed to win a voter referendum. So in other words, if 41% of people voted uh, to against this ballot initiative in November, the no votes would win with 41% of the vote. There's some other provisions in this that are also troubling, but at any rate, so the Republicans put this ballot initiative thinking that they got to head them off at the pass, if you will. Unfortunately, it's probably going to backfire. The number of people that are showing up to vote is like 5 times the number that we've seen in previous special elections. And the the guess is that that's even some former Republican officials, like former Governor Kasich, for instance, um, and others are coming out, against this ballot initiative here. So anyway, I've been, watching all of this and just terribly alarmed at the direction that these Republicans are going in. What I can't understand is how, there are, 30, as many as 30 or 40% of Americans who are still with these people that, you know, um, I didn't, you wouldn't think that their affection for guns and abortion would be so strong that they would vote for these guys and all of the uh, craziness that comes along with that. But apparently I'm wrong. There are that many, and we've got to do everything within our power. This is no time to sit on the sidelines and watch, and wait until election day. We really, each of us individually, have to do what we can um, to, and I do it online, I do it in person. There are people I don't talk to anymore. Um, uh, because of their views, and I let them know why. Uh, like I said, this is no time to sit on your hands. The stakes are too high. So, anyway, I thank you for watching. I have talked way too long. I'm doing pretty well. Like I said, I got this little intestinal thing. Hopefully, that'll clear up here. I think I had to run about 7 or 8 days before they completely. Um, if I'm still experiencing any discomfort beyond that, I'm going to have to you know turn it over to my doctors and say, okay, have at it. But at this point, I've got an appointment on Thursday to have my eyes checked. My eyes are really bad, and I've been looking forward to this for some time. And I'm hoping after Thursday, the 27th, when I see this ophthalmologist, and I'm pretty certain that she's going to tell me that I have cataracts and that they need to be removed. What I'm waiting to see is how quickly they can do that because I'm not going on a trip. I'm not doing too much of anything. I mean, it's hard for me just to watch TV. As I watch, I'm looking at my screen right now. I've got my little laptop here, and this screen is almost completely washed out. That's what I'm seeing. And if I look even across the room, everything's a little blurry. Everything. Like I can't see the time on the clock. If there's anything printed on the TV screen, for instance, whatever it is, um, I have to get up and get within like 2, 3 feet of the TV to read, what's on the screen, no matter how big it's written. As I'm driving, and I'm looking at like road signs or whatever, I can't read them, you know, uh, I have to be, within probably 50 feet, 60 feet of the sign before I can read the sign. So, not good. You know what I mean? Um, and I'm certainly not going anywhere, until this is fixed. So, um, hopefully, you know, that's a medical procedure I need to get done as quickly as possible. So, I don't know. My eyes are real sensitive. Like, how some people have like contact lenses and they have to put them in their eyes. I don't know how they do it because if I touch my eye, it hurts like, you know. Um, I have a neighbor across the street who's a little older than me. He's about 80 years old now, and he's got some type of macular degeneration, I guess it's called. And there's, I guess, two different kinds, and there's one that's, I guess, is described as like the wet kind that is more serious. And she has to receive like injections, little needle shots in the eye. Um, ooh. I'm hoping I don't have anything like that. I'm pretty sure from, you know, what I'm experiencing seems to fit the description of cataracts. So we'll find out. I'll let you know after Thursday what's going on and, what can be done. Um, anyway, I've been talking this is one of my longer videos, so I'm going to let you go. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again, real soon. Thank you.